Hi, today we're going to look at lesson 4.4, rates of change in polynomial functions. The goal for today's lesson is to determine average and instantaneous rates of change in polynomial functions. So we want to recall a few things. One is that the average rate of change of a function is the slope of the secant between 2 points. The average rate of change equals f of x2 minus f of x1 divided by x2 minus x1 between the points x1 f of x1 and x2 f of x2. Now we want to recall that the estimate, and this is very important, it's just an estimate these days, of the instantaneous rate of change of a function is the average of the slopes of the secants between 2 points that are very close together. One secant preceding and one secant following a given value of x referred to as a. So the average rate of change is f of a plus h minus f of a all over a plus h minus a, where a is some specific value of x and h is a small number like plus or minus 0.001. Thus the, again, estimate of the instantaneous rate of change is the average of the calculations of the slopes, or of the average rates of change, between points a plus h, f of a plus h, and a f of a, where h is assigned both values of 0.001 and negative 0.001 for the two calculations of slope, thus resulting in two values with which to take the average. Okay, so hopefully that will be a little reminder, refresher for you. So now what we want to do is look at this polynomial function, 3 quantity x minus 2 squared minus 2. We want to determine the average rate of change of this function f of x on each of these following intervals. Well, what I'm going to do is I'll do one with you right now, and then I'll ask you to do the other two, so pause the video to do those other two examples. So let's start out. We know that the average rate of change has a formula of f of x2 minus f of x1 all over x2 minus x1. And so over here I'm going to put f of, say, 4, which is 4 minus 2 squared minus 2. So the 4 is the x value. And that works out to be 2 squared. 4 times 3 is 12 minus 2 is 10. And then f of 2, which is x1 now. 3 quantity 2 minus 2 all squared minus 2, which gives 2 minus 2 is 0 squared times 3 minus 2 gives us negative 2. Okay, so then the average rate of change, which I started up there, would be 10 minus negative 2 all over 4 minus 2, which gives me 12 over 2, which is 6. Okay, so the average rate of change, this is the side work here, average rate of change of this function between the values of 2 and 4 is 6. Okay, so please continue and calculate the average rate of change between of this function between 2 and 6, and then calculate the average rate of change of this function between 4 and 6. Okay, please go ahead and do that now. Pause the video and come back to check your results. Okay, so we know f of 2, which we calculated over here, which is negative 2. So for 6, f of 6 we need to calculate, and you substitute 6 into the function and we get 46. So then the average rate of change is 6 minus negative 2 divided by 6 minus 2, which is 48, divided by 4, which is 12. Then we have all the information we need for the interval between 4 and 6. So the average rate of change is 46 minus 10 divided by 6 minus 4, 36 divided by 2, which is 18. Okay, so those are the average rates of change of that function on different intervals, 2 to 4, 2 to 6, and 4 to 6. Now we're going to use the difference quotient to estimate the instantaneous rate of change of that function f of x at x equals 4. Okay, so we're going to start out, as always, with the average rate of change. And we know that equals f of x plus h minus f of x all over x plus h minus x. I'm just going to substitute x plus h in wherever I see the x in the function. So that first part is f of x plus h, and the second part after this subtraction sign is just f of x. And we'll divide this by x plus h minus x. So then I'm going to expand all this out, simplify this, expand it out. So I'm going to have x plus h minus 2 all squared minus 2 minus, and I'll expand out this x minus 2 all squared to get x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus 2 all over h, because the two x's would have cancelled there.